Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. This show today is going to be focusing on Grand Bahama, which was under the spotlight this week because of all of the activity that we saw happening over there. Groundbreaking, big announcements, and the Prime Minister was there with a large contingent. And I mean, on the surface, it all looks and sounds really good for the island of Grand Bahama in terms of what was announced this week. And it's often said, at least we say it here in these quarters, that the future of the economy, the Bahamas economy, the road to a bright economic future drives through the island of Grand Bahama. So in other words, what happens in Grand Bahama definitely will impact the overall economy. And so we saw lots of activity in Grand Bahama this week, and we're going to be focusing on all of that and what it all means and what it does not mean. Okay, that's what the show's about today. I'm calling it Deja Vu. Because some people are saying, this all look good, but we didn't see this before. So we're going to talk about that. Before we jump into the conversation, though, I'm going to let you know how you can become a part of the conversation. The telephone numbers to call, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM Facebook pages. Also streaming live on our YouTube channels. You can catch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. And you can also catch us on radio here in New Providence, Global 99.5 FM on your dial. All right, so now that you know how to become a part of the show, let's go ahead and get our guest here into the studio. My guest today is C. Alan Johnson, who is known as the critical thinker, who is a longtime resident of Grand Bahama, even though he's a native of New Providence, and he's forget that sometimes. But I ain't gonna let him forget. Even though he sings the praises of Grand Bahama, everything is Grand Bahama, but he navel string buried right here in Nassau. For those of you listening by radio, he put his finger over his mouth to say, shh. See, Alan, welcome back, man.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Now, for those of you who like to say, oh, C. Allen always got too much to say, yada, yada, y'all caused C. Allen to be on my show on Monday with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, because he said, C. Allen said some things last week as it relates to the Constitution, and it sort of missed a lot of people. It caused a little bit of confusion, and so I promised that I would have him back on the show on Monday, which is Monday past, with the professor to clarify any confusion that had been, caused by some of the things that were said. But this show was already in the making. So, C. Allen isn't normally on my show twice in 1 week, but it is what it is this week because his presence was required on Monday to help clarify some things as it relates to the Constitution. So, boys, C. Allen, y'all had plenty of activity over there, eh? This week was a big week for Grand Bahama, eh?
Yeah, we had everything. We had everything except a letter opening.
Everything except what?
A letter opening.
What you mean by that?
That's the only thing we didn't open was a letter.
Well, don't be surprised. Some of them might have been open behind the scenes. To set the stage for those of you who are living under a rock and don't know what we're talking about, the Prime Minister, like I said, took a very large contingent with him to Grand Bahama, where they celebrated a groundbreaking and made some announcements and pronouncements about things to come for the island, including a new healthcare facility and upgraded airport and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of people got very, very excited. So let us begin by bringing our audience up to speed as to what was announced in Grand Bahama. And this clip is coming from the Office of the Prime Minister, OPM Press Now.
A decade-long vision backed by $210 million in World Bank funding, the Freeport Health Campus is on the way. Ground was broken Tuesday for the brand new 57,000 square foot facility that Prime Minister Philip Davis celebrates as a priority achievement.
Today, as a bright future dawns for healthcare in Grand Bahama, we pay tribute. We pay tribute to the loss, pain, and struggle of the past. We give thanks for the community champions and healthcare heroes who helped this island and its communities overcome the many challenges to bring this island and the Rand Memorial Hospital and the various community clinics back to where we are today. At this new healthcare center, wounds will be healed, medical research will be advanced, lives will be rebuilt, and the Grand Bahama Health Services will be positioned to provide the highest standards of care now and into the future, as a long-awaited vision is now at last becoming a reality.
The facility will be built in 3 phases, the first of which is set to be complete in 18 months' time. With a 15 to 17-foot elevation, the facility will evade the flooding that dogged the Rand Memorial Hospital and accommodate a badly needed medical service in Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama, this facility will have an oncology center. Very important, because I have seen it. On a Monday to Wednesday, our patients are traveling back and forth for chemotherapy, sometimes could hardly stand on their feet after the procedure. Those days will finally go away.
The government has committed to bolster this long-awaited development and the renovations of 41 clinics nationwide with a new and improved national health bill. It's a remedy that Prime Minister Davis is happy to administer on an island making its way back to good health.
I pray that this will be the site of many miracles of healing, where the sick will be made well, where broken bodies will be made whole, and where you will always know that you, our healthcare heroes, are in our prayers and in the hearts of the Bahamian people. May God bless you and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Keeping you in the know, this is OPM Press Now.
Okay, so see, Alan, I look at that and I'm excited. I'm like, wow, this is good for Grand Bahama. Praise the Lord, hallelujah. But some people saying, man, we don't see this groundbreaking before. It's this deja vu. Why are some people so skeptical when it comes to this major development and announcement there in Grand Bahama?
Well, for those who will have the ability to recall, if you go back to the 2012-2017 PLP administration, a groundbreaking for almost an identical type of environment hospital occurred. It never happened. It never came to fruition under the pre-LP administration. And under the FNM administration, the previous one, it was surrendered to a school. The location of the initial groundbreaking was surrendered to a school, international school for medicine. This groundbreaking occurred a few hundred feet to the west of that location, and it made the same promises of what will be. The problem is that on Grand Bahama, we've had this experience where we call possibilities versus probabilities that happen. So it is always possible that this can happen, but we're feeling a little improbable that it will happen the way it is announced. If you take into consideration the needs of Grand Bahama, and again, in my opinion, this is more of a happenstance type environment because there's no national planning for Grand Bahama as a economic key figure in the revival of the Bahamas. During that very speech, the Prime Minister made mention of that. He also made mention in Parliament and other occasions that so goes Grand Bahama economy, so goes the Bahamas. And what happens is that here it is that you bring a clinic. I know many people will say it's a hospital. From what was described so far, it's a clinic. We have clinics all over this island already, many in needs of repairs and many in need of supplies and supporting equipment to make it more usable in the environment. And the reason I say it's a clinic is this is a design build project. For those who don't understand that a design build project means there's no true design for it. We will think of what we want it to be as we build. Generally speaking, in the construction field, we call that a cost overrun project, meaning that since you don't know exactly what the design is going to be, you have encounters, you have changes, you have so many different things. And so the money that you may allocate becomes very stretched as an environment. And so the key to is they use this concept called a phased development, mean multiple part projects, multiple pieces. So in the initial 1 and 2 pieces, again, we have nothing to substantiate this, but from what is said, it'll just be another place where you can get outpatient services, because the hospital aspect of the beds and operating rooms and oncology centers and things are most likely in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th phase, which could be 5, 10, even a decade away, maybe 15 years away, because no one knows for sure exactly what it is. But when you look at the needs of Grand Bahama and you start talking about developing Grand Bahama, with Freeport being the focal point, you should have a design-built city or island to be able to anticipate the needs that would be needed to attract the type of investments that needed to come to the island. You talk about Grand Bahama being a commercial, industrial, technological, and a hospitality hub. When you begin to look at the needs of those type of environment, you have to ask yourself, would this clinic or hospital, depends on the language you want to use, meet those requirements? And I say absolutely not. And when investors begin to look at a destination or an ecosystem, they want to know, when I put my monies here, what type of healthcare I'll be available to me and my employees. They want to know the facilities that will be available in case of emergencies. They would want to know what type of firefighting type of environment is there to support their investment, protect the investment. They would want to know the whole layout of being able to envision a city that includes the airport also, that what it is. No one is having that type of conversation. I mean, there is some attempts being made. I must give credit to not to the Grand Bahama Port Authority yet, but to one of the principals in the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Mr. Rupert Haywood, that seemingly wants to have that conversation in the public domain that no one has picked up yet, and engaging him in that respect. Individuals like myself, not just myself, but I talked to the business community, are very interested in the initial points that he made, that we have to have such a design to go forward for Freeport. But again, it's just for many in the business environment, it's hopeful, but they're not gonna predicate their business decisions on this actually coming true. It's almost like you said, we've heard this before 1, 2, 3 times, and announcement and pronouncements. We'd like to see more than just groundbreaking, some actual something in the ground that builds up more. But most would be like better is the actual plan of this hospital, what it is, the acreage going to cover, what is the design, the timeline, and for those of us that need to know where's the resources is going to come to actually build what is promised.
So, based on everything I'm hearing you say, I guess you sort of can't blame Grand Bahamians for being skeptical, because there have been so many promises and disappointments in the past. And so, I can sort of understand the hesitancy to really run with this. Even though, like I said at the outset of the show, from what we see and hear, it sounds really good. But I was watching an interview with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Darren Cooper.
And Cooper,
Yeah.
that makes
And
sense to show.
one of the things that he was saying is that, that all sounds great, but it doesn't address the immediate obvious need of the RAND, which is, for instance, a bed shortage. And he would have felt better had he seen some kind of announcement as to how that problem would be addressed, even if simultaneously happening at the time when this groundbreaking and huge announcement took place on Tuesday. His argument is, you're looking to the future for several years from now, but what about the person now who can't get a bed in the Rand Memorial because of the challenges that are being faced in that particular facility? Is that a fair assessment or critique, or is he really just being extra hard on this administration as it
No,
announces plans?
I would concur with him. The question is, you have a project that's for a few $100 million,
Mhm.
and the argument is the money is here, and you're talking about building maybe 100-something bedroom, but at the same time you have people in the hallways and other places at the other locations, and the question one have to ask themselves is, how many people will use the Rand Memorial Hospital? Technically, it's still a clinic also. How many people will use the RAN in the 2 years that this is being built? How many accidents? How many sicknesses? How many cares that needs to happen. The question then becomes: is there not a few $1 million, considering this is a few years away, a few $1 million to make the Rand Memorial more user adapt to the needs of Grand Bahama? Uh, we need beds, we need equipment, we need a whole host of different things. And
Mhm.
so, yes, this building can be built. The equipment itself is going to be purchased at the end of this building. And if these monies is already allocated for the equipment, we could acquire the equipment. We talk about the literally hundreds of abandoned buildings in Grand Bahama that is quite usable with minimal adjustment for someone who's going to use their life. Let's say, for instance, a number of people who need oncology care. I mean, how many of them will have to suffer an adverse environment to say that then, $2 million is more important than them? Whatever amount you want to use, there is an urgent need on Grand Bahama for decades of neglect and patching of what is called the Rand Memorial Hospital. Remember now, the Rand Memorial Hospital is 50 years or maybe at least 4 decades old. That was built as a clinic that has become almost like a shanty town environment where things was added and added and added. And we've somehow adopted in our minds of calling this clinic a hospital. And we need a world-class hospital, and that is possible. Let's use an example. In a short conversation I've had with Mr. Hayward concerning the needs of Grand Bahama and the need to have a medical city or a medical environment on Grand Bahama
Mhm.
shows that if we was to actually carefully define what it is we want to become, we can create a medical center in Grand Bahama where private investors, as part of a PPP or with an understanding in exchange for concessions, would make access to public hospital care. Even a university, in that respect, can be attracted here. Like they have, most people go to Jackson Memorial Hospital and they consider it a world-class hospital. Don't know that's the University of Miami school. And
Mhm.
so we can have these type of environment. In Houston, Texas, you have the same thing, or in Texas, you have the same thing, where school runs these world-class hospitals.
Right.
So we can create that type of environment that fulfills their needs, creates an environment for a medical destination, and at the same time fulfill the needs of Bahamians as a whole. Because if you have a world-class hospital with hundreds of rooms and all kind of different healthcare from the body to the eyes to whatever it is that a world-class multiple universities can have, we can create a city. But it takes what is called an imagination to redefine what we want Freeport and Grand Bahama to be. And so we're not having these type of dialogues. What we're having is, let's do something to get reelected, as opposed to let's do something to leave a legacy for the future of my term in office. People will remember who invoke this vision. In fact, if you actually have an opportunity, if you have the ability to define what Grand Bahama is going to be, considering it's the linchpin for the economic development of the Bahamas, you could very well be elected for multiple terms. At least your government, you don't necessarily have to be used prime minister, can be elected for multiple terms to complete the vision that you have expressed and people have understood and bought into,
Mhm.
and sees progress being made towards it.
Okay. Well, I know that you mentioned earlier what is going to be necessary to take Grand Bahama to the next level. Um, you know, Adequate medical facilities is just one of the many pillars or the several pillars that need to be in place to be able to attract any kind of real interest from potential investors who can really help to rebuild Grand Bahama and reinvigorate its economy. And in the midst of that conversation is obviously what is happening with the Grand Bahama Airport. And so we also heard some pronouncements as it relates to what is going to happen there with that facility. That is, again, something that we need to look at closely to see what kind of impact that will have. And realistically speaking, when we can expect to see that come to fruition. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to, and all of this, it's like a fork in the road, but it all leads to one hub. We're going to eventually get to that hub of economic prosperity and future of Grand Bahama. But all of these pillars, these forks, contribute or lead back to that one hub. So we have to talk about them. So on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the Grand Bahama Airport, because that is critical to attracting any kind of hope for the future of Grand Bahama, whether it is from a touristic look or just the economic outlook of the island. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. Make sure you check out Tiki Bikini Hut on Junkanoo Beach, where they have some really, really good food. I haven't had anything there that I didn't like yet. Excellent food, great family-friendly atmosphere. They will make you feel like a celebrity from the moment you walk into the establishment. And guess what, gal? If you all go and check them out and let them know that you heard about them here on GPS, they will give you a sweet deal off your meal. So definitely go and check them out. Let them know that you heard about them on GPS, and you're there to support a Bahamian-owned business. And I guarantee you're going to have a wonderful time. All right. So my guest, well, before I go back to C. Alan Johnson, those of you just joining us, talking about Grand Bahama, the numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, the WhatsApp line for messages and calls, 8010271, 8010271. And we're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages, also streaming live on our YouTube channels. Catch us on Grand Bahama's channel 974, and here in New Providence on your radio dial, 99.5 FM. So my guest today is C. Alan Johnson. We're talking about Grand Bahama because Tuesday was a big day for the island. The Prime Minister and several members of his cabinet were in town for the groundbreaking ceremony for a new healthcare facility that is coming. You know, we heard all the wonderful things about what that facility will be able to provide by way of services for the people of Grand Bahama. And some people were very, very excited over the announcements, but others were saying, this seemed like a little deja vu going on here, because I think I didn't see this before. So some people are taking a wait and see attitude. Well, we know that Grand Bahama will play a very significant role when it comes to the health of the economy, the national economy, in the future. And so it just makes sense that attention will be paid to the infrastructure on that island, which has been battered over the years with successive hurricanes doing some major damage. Dorian, oh my God, wreaked havoc on the airport in Grand Bahama. I mean, you know, I had an opportunity to travel to Grand Bahama a couple of weeks after Dorian passed, and to see the level of destruction at the airport alone. I mean, small planes were mangled up like toy planes. The damage to the structures, it was just crazy. But even before Dorian, it seems that every single time there's any kind of storm that passes over Grand Bahama, the airport gets terribly flooded. So the airport has been prone to significant damage over the years from natural disasters. And there's been this back and forth with regard to who is responsible for upgrading the airport and maintaining it and rebuilding it and all this kind of stuff. Well, the Minister of Tourism was also a part of that contingent in Grand Bahama on Tuesday. And one of the things that he talked about was the upgrades that are going to be made to the Grand Bahama Airport as government prepares to renovate a number of family island airports. The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Investments in Aviation, Chester Cooper, said demolition is set to begin on the Grand Bahama International Airport shortly with a view to major repairs and renovation. Here is what he had to say.
We are about to begin demolition. That process is imminent at the moment. There are very complex agreements that's currently being prepared. The lawyers are working diligently. As you would imagine, there is a foreign lender. There is a foreign airport concessionaire, the airport managers. There are local groups. There's a consortium of 5 different entities, and therefore there are a lot of legal agreements to be completed. That process is underway. The consultants are on the ground. I have a meeting next Tuesday to meet with them to look at the designs. But the reality is the work has continued since we entered the MOU during March. So the process is that we've entered the MOU. We're now completing the full set of legal agreements and designs. We're going to begin the demolition work shortly.
Good news, C. Allen.
As a linguistic specialist,
Uh-huh.
I always have this type of conversation with the business community here. I listen to what people say, and I reference what they have said. I was looking for some previous information just now. What is being said now doesn't match what has been said in the past in regards to before the airport was announced that deal has been had, when the deal was had, and what is being said now. Those are three different statements. The previous statement was had some similarities of today, that we're going to be demoing, cleaning up, and making it acceptable for arrivals. Now, first of all, you made a statement concerning who's responsible for the airport. Okay, let's not talk about them. We can have an argument about the blame game of what happened in the past. But as it stands today, we are, the government of the Bahamas is responsible for the airport. So when you now look at this, these statements, we were looking for somebody to build and manage, build, finance, and manage the airport. A deal was said to have been struck. A leaked deal was been struck concerning a group out of Dublin or Ireland or something of that sort. No denial or yes on that. Eventually, it was announced that we have a consortium of Bohemians involving an architect, a person from a financial background, as well as a company that we are familiar with a location in the UK. So this consortium was announced as the winner to meet the specifications of this design, finance, and build and manage of the other one of this airport. And so we accepted that to be what it is until during the Prime Minister's trip to the coronation, an announcement was made that $400 million of a loan, of a line of credit obtained by the government of the Bahamas would be used to develop an airport in Grand Bahama. A number of us were confused because we didn't know if we were directly referring to the Grand Bahama International Airport or maybe another airport for $400 million was going to be built, because always before this airport was promoted, it was in the 150 up to $170 million range, and this $400 million figure came out. Okay, now comes the Prime Minister and says he misspoke. And $200 million would be allocated towards this airport. And so here that's again $30 million, $40 million above what was announced that the deal was on the table. But the most poignant question that comes out of this deal is the fact now that government is financing, by virtue of its line of credit, whether it attaches to our sovereign debt or not, is financing this airport. When the deal that was said, or what was put out to tender and what was accepted, was that whoever these other entities were going to build, design, finance, and manage this airport. So we are now very confused here on Grand Bahama from a perspective. In fact, the whole Bahamas has, in some respect to that. But now, if you listen to this announcement, and are we in the middle of choosing 6 different designs from among 6 different designs? Stakeholders will be consulted. No one is explaining how this $200 million is applicable. Is this $200 million in addition to the financing that the winning bid is going to bring to the table? We've had conversations and statements from government and otherwise that this is not just an airport, this is an air, sea, land type location for almost like a harbor port transport type environment. And so there's still this is like no clarity in anything that's concrete as to what is going to be done. The announcement made was that this was going to be solid concrete finished in 2025. And so when you listen now to the announcement being made by government, it says we are hard on this 2025. Okay, that's different than an assurance, meaning that we're still sticking to. But then you have this conversation again of the airport being built in phases. And so so it seems as if though this phase, which may just be a cleanup phase, is going to be ready for 2025. And so, and because there is no design, there can be no timeline that can actually be attributable to what is going to happen. And so again, for us on Grand Bahama, this becomes more of exercise and intellectual massaging of us than actually giving us a concrete something that we can bet or put money down on, build our businesses on, expand our businesses, take out loans on, and anticipating of growth. The airport, we always had an airport, be it maybe and look like garbage. And in fact, it amazes me that members of parliament would land at an airport and have a press conference saying that we need an airport. I keep trying to figure out where did we land? So what we need is a better facility to accommodate the type of environment. We also need an airport. And here's another point that we don't know. An airport, the location of these facilities, when you take for someone who's involved in the previous inquiries concerning for a client bidding on the airport. In fact, we'll put that the airport was first announced for $30 million under the previous administration. And during conversations that we've had in the public domain and with the individuals, where we came in with $130 million compared to everybody else's $30, $40 million, that the new adjustment of the airport was done to well over $100 million, because we took into consideration a resilient climate environment airport and looking at a bridge between the Bahamas and other places to build this resilient type airport that can accommodate protecting it from offshore on the north coast, as well as building, anticipating from the history, because Grand Bahama is a hurricane alley. We are the capital of Hurricane Alley, which I want to come back to later, shows you why Grand Bahama is the gemstone of the global economic conversation that is happening. And we are having almost like candy store type conversation as the Grand Bahama with a lot of things that is not concrete. These international companies, these international investors are looking for leadership that is clear, concise, and what is it they want to do, and in timelines they have to achieve it, and the resources that they would need to execute it. You don't have to have the resources, but we're not having those. Again, so here it is, the airport that is so bundled up in duplicitous or triplicitous, or is it quadruplicitous conversation, and we can't determine what is real and what is imagined.
Do you believe that the reason why, according to what you're saying, um, the conversation or the narrative is sort of vague as opposed to providing more specifics? Do you think that is because there's an old adage that says once bitten, twice shy? And we have heard so many pronouncements about developments in Grand Bahama incorporating the airport and the hotel, and this person being to the table, and we're very close and we're almost there, and then something happens, and at the end of the day, it all falls through and we're back to square one. Do you believe that this is why there's some hesitancy to put out more direct, concrete guidelines because of the fact that there have been so many, for want of a better terminology, false starts or announcements that fell through in the past when it comes to the infrastructural development of the island?
I would put to you that what you're having is 5-year celebrities with a vision for re-election, as opposed to building a city that requires you to think 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in advance. They don't have that amount of time to sell a vision to that extent. This is why it's important for us to have this conversation with the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Oh, we're going to talk about them in a minute.
Right. If we are to have a constant for Grand Bahama, because Freeport will serve as a minimum the initial linchpin for the next decade or longer as the point of entry into the economy of Grand Bahama. And so the fact that, again, I don't know what is happening in the Grand Bahama Port Authority, but I know externally from one of the directors, Mr. Rupert Haywood, you've had at least a desire to have that conversation, which is a form, it gives me a sense of encouragement in light of the conversation of the government that's been having in the marketplace, that the government itself is considering a form of nationalization of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and which scares the daylights out of someone like me as a futurist, seeing or having to know what Grand Bahama possibilities is, looking at the economic competency of the government of the Bahamas and the billions of dollars of attraction that has to be, that would need to be attracted to Freeport initially in the Grand Bahama by extension. To get Grand Bahama going, you have an aged city that's 50 plus years old, that infrastructure is coming to the end of life. So there has to be tremendous growth to create the environment to replace and upgrade these facilities. And if you say, if these billions of dollars are needed, and you look at the way governance has happened in the Bahamas, the question is, if they could do this for Freeport, why wouldn't they do it for the Bahamas? And so, so I question their ability, and the word competence is a very key word. It means having the ability and knowledge in doing something. It's not an attack that hasn't been demonstrated in the actions in the governance of the Bahamas for at least 2 decades. And so when you look at Grand Bahama, a lot of people give excuses, but we could go back to the impetus or the beginning of the death of Grand Bahama. And believe it or not, we are in the 21st century, and a lot of people may not realize Grand Bahama began its slow death in 2001, which is the first year of the 21st century, and that began with 9/11. And so what happens is, here it is that we're moving into the 21st century where technology and information is beginning to expand. At least 9 different economic models have come into fruition in a sense then, which Grand Bahama could play a central role in it. My wife and I, Eden Marie Jonathan, now have talked about this aquamarine economy that combines the green, the blue, the aquamarine, the ocean, the knowledge, the data, and the digital economy as one consolidated environment. Mr. Rupert Haywood, one of the principals in the Port Authority, has brought what is called the Blue Action Lab to Grand Bahama that holds tremendous potential. They brought the Carl Vita here that won the Earth Prize Award last year, December, for $1 million as innovative for the global environment. The Prime Minister of the country is talking about this new carbon economy that addresses global warming and climate change. The Bahamas and Freeport, the Bahamas is in the pathway of small island development states' impact. Freeport is the capital of hurricanes, which is becoming intensified due to global warming and climate change. And so here it is, going back to Mr. Haywood with his Blue Action Lab, and I've since I've been able to team up with Founders Factory, one of the largest what they call our accelerators and startup hubs. And formed the Blue Action Accelerator already with its initial funding of $10 million to begin a conversation as to innovation and ideas on the island. And so when you look at, and this is why I'm so keen in his conversation, and I've reached out to him and talked to him at some length, is because his Blue Action Lab seemingly overlays with the concept of our aquamarine economy, because it puts emphasis on the ocean economy and the blue economy. And in fact, Ms. Ginger Moxie, the Minister for Grand Bahama, just spoke at an event, the Impact Forum, that was here for a couple of days last week, and she put emphasis on the orange, the blue, and the green economies as being an integral part of Grand Bahama. So it seems as if though we are the three of us, and I mean I would give credit that he's leading or a principal in the Grand Bahama Port Authority. So here it is, you have individuals like me from the business community, the government of the Bahamas through the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Prime Minister, and their manifesto, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority seemingly speaking the same language. It's just that we seem to be in three different cars, where I'm speaking decades ahead. The Port Authority is speaking a decade or two, and the government is speaking for the next 3 years. And so we somehow need to have a broader conceptual conversation to find out who will be the driver of this economic rebirth for the Bahamas in Grand Bahama and Freeport. And I would put to you that because governments change so often, because we don't vote government in, because they have always failed to sell people, this is what you should vote for, this is what you support. We often vote them out to get rid of them, and so we say this is what we don't want instead of what we want. I believe that individuals like myself, my wife, Rupert Hayward, if that's the mindset coming out of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and the business community should be the driver of the direction Grand Bahama will go in the absence of leadership of government being able to demonstrate the ability to give us short, medium, and long-term goals. I mean, executable goals for Grand Bahama economy. I want Bahamians to understand this conversation is with Grand Bahama. But if you go back to the 2000 election, the 2002 election, you heard Perry Christie and Hubert Ingram, the Honorable Perry Christie and Honorable Hubert Ingram, both said that Grand Bahama was the linchpin to the economic development of the Bahamas. That's 2002, right after the 2001 impact.
Mm-hmm.
In 2007, they both said it. In 2012, Brandon McCartney, Hubert Ingram, and Perry Christie all said that Grand Bahama is the linchpin for the economic development.
But you wouldn't believe that, considering the lack of attention it's received.
But this is on the record. In fact, if you look at each of their manifestos going back from 2007, 2012, and 2017, with Hubert Alexander Minnis repeating the same thing. And the funny thing is, guess what? Coming to the picture of 2021, Mr. Philip Edward Brave Davis also said, and right up to the groundbreaking, said that Grand Bahama, so goes Grand Bahama, so grows the economy of the Bahamas. And so if you see that the economy of the Bahamas has stagnated and not grown, it's because Grand Bahama economy is stagnated and not grown. And because we are the only location available in the instant, not the one that has potential, available in the instant with a key infrastructural location, deep water harbor, shipping lanes, air lanes, everything that is ready on day one. Just slight improvement, slight build out that is ready to embrace the 21st century. The green economy, the blue economy, the orange economy, the digital economy, the data economy, the new artificial intelligence economy. All of these things, no other island in the Bahamas could instantly begin to have an argument that it all starts here. And we're not hearing that.
That all sounds good, but one of the things that you said a moment ago, which could explain why there seems to be this impasse, and we're going to talk about the impasse on the other side of the break, is that it seems that the players at B are trying to communicate while riding in different vehicles. And I think the challenge is everybody got to get on board the same vehicle in order to communicate effectively. on the other side of a break, is I have pulled a clip with Ginger Moxie because there's this, there are reports, at least one news agency is reporting that an executive of the Port Authority has labeled the relationship between the GBPA and the government as, quote, less than favorable, end quote. So we're going to hear from the minister with responsibility for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, on that, because there honestly seems to be some kind of breakdown in communication, or I don't know if it's communication or something else, why all of the stakeholders can't seem to come together on one accord. Everybody is saying that Grand Bahama is the vehicle through which the economy, will be driven, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But like I named this show, Deja Vu, because if we keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again, all the powers that be know that this is what needs to happen. What is stopping it from happening? That's the question that we need to address. So we're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, we'll hear from the minister with responsibility for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, who was responding to the claim that the relationship right now between the Port Authority and the government is, quote, less than favorable. And then we're also going to look at the outlook, but not just Grand Bahama, but its role in the national economy from someone in the private sector who has a balanced view, I think, of what needs to be done. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global paradigm shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company with my guest, C. Alan Johnson. Today we're talking about Deja Vu, Grand Bahama, big pronouncements and announcements. But have we been down this road before? And should we get our hopes up that this indeed will be Grand Bahama's time? The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for text messages and calls 8010271, 8010271. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM Facebook pages, as well as our YouTube channels. And you can catch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974 and on your radio dial here in New Providence on Global 99.5 FM. C. Alan Johnson is in the house. We're talking about Grand Bahama, as he often says. It is Grand Bahama through which you will have to drive if you want to arrive at a healthy national economy. And we have heard, as he would have just expressed prior to the break, leader after leader say pretty much the same thing, that the road to economic recovery and prosperity is going to have to go through Grand Bahama. Yet you look at that island and you would swear that nobody knew that or understood that to be the case, because it is in dire straits, to say the very least. Now, a big part of this conversation has to involve the Grand Bahama Port Authority, because recent reports say that an executive of the Grand Bahama Port Authority has reportedly, or should I say, allegedly labeled the relationship between the authority and the government as less than favored. And the minister with responsibility for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, responded to that claim, asserting that the government's main concern is to ensure that the best interest of Grand Bahamians remains top priority, regardless of how intense discussions between both parties might be. Here's what she had to say.
Well, you know, the Port Authority has had its fair share of challenges over the years, and the government has always strived to work with the Port Authority. Grand Bahama has been going through so much, and we need immediate relief, but we also need a Port Authority that is progressive, that is making things happen. And so the government from day one has been communicating with the Port Authority, the shareholders of the Port Authority, to ensure that Grand Bahama is headed in the right direction. So what we want is for the best for our people, for our island. We want businesses to thrive. And so we've been communicating with the Port to ensure that that happens. Of course, there are very high-level discussions that I can't really share, but we just want what's best for Grand Bahama. And we want a Port Authority that is making things happen.
A progressive Port Authority. What do you interpret that to mean, C. Alan?
I like that choice of the word. I wrote a piece on her use of those words. I was looking for it because the word progressive has some significant value, because it encompasses a lot of the things for which the progressive Liberal Party proclaims itself to be.
Mhm.
And my piece was the fact that we need both a progressive government and a progressive port authority to achieve the ideals that it said. To date, we have not had that in a number of decades.
Mhm.
And the reason why, let me just read this one part, right, of
Mhm.
what the Progressive Liberal Party stands for. I'm going to take out what it's supposed to be, but it says the philosophy of the Progressive Liberal Party is they they are a political party that promotes social democracy and progressive ideals. Their philosophy on focuses on principles such as equality, social justice, social empowerment, and the pursuit of a fair and inclusive society. The PLP advocates for policies that addresses poverty, improve education and healthcare, protect the environment, fosters economic development for all humans. They emphasized the importance of democratic governance, human rights, and the law and the rule of law and abiding and rule of law and building a prosperous and harmonious nation. That's my summary of their philosophy.
Mhm.
And I don't want to go through the whole thing of exactly my opinion of what a progressive organization is. But if you look at their philosophy, and they should then be governing by example as to what the Port Authority should be doing. The name of the company is called the Grand Bahama Port Authority, but its responsibility in law is for Freeport.
Mhm.
The Progressive Liberal Party's responsibility is for Grand Bahama. The Grand Bahama Port Authority, not being an independent country, would have to follow the lead of a progressive agenda, a progressive vision for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And
Mhm.
so, if there existed an actual vision for this so called progressive environment, I think the Port Authority would be forced to fall in line. And so, because there is none, and there has been none expressed for going back at least almost 2.5 decades at minimum, we can then argue that they are both playing the game of chicken. You don't have a plan, I don't have a plan, so we both can't hold each other accountable. Would you say the pot calling the kettle black? Don't say anything but me, I won't say anything but you, and they've been playing this game. When sitting in the middle is the residents of Grand Bahama, the residents of Freeport, and the residents of the Bahamas as a whole that has been taking the brunt of this seemingly impasse. You know, I understand the argument has always been, and the governments in the past have used the argument, well, the co-owners of the Port Authority is fighting. Well, that has nothing to do with us. If we are following the mandate for which the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement calls for, and if they don't meet their mandate and we are meeting ours, then we could be in a position to take the action that government is so-called calling upon. No government, including this one, could reveal to you a comprehensive strategy for inclusion of Grand Bahama into the economic picture for the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. No previous government, and no current government, and no incoming government. There's been none expressed. The Grand Bahama Port Authority has lacked in its development of Freeport. But, taking the position that and I want the primary responsibility to lay in the hands of the people who have the ultimate power, the ultimate ability to legislate anything they want into play.
Mhm.
And so you use the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they having no vision for Freeport. If I was on their side, I would argue is that I'm waiting for you guys to give me a national vision so I could incorporate it into it, because I can't. I don't have immigration autonomy. I don't have investment autonomy. I don't have building code autonomy. Nothing that the Hawkesbury Greek Agreement originally had exists in its purest form to basically hold Freeport responsible. We should have the Grand Bahama Port Authority at the table with all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed, and then asking them, what's next? What's now? What's new? And what's next from you? And so I think primarily it's us. And when I say us, I'm talking about we are the government of the Bahamas. We must also understand that the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement is a trust. It isn't just some arbitrary agreement. It's law of the Deepwater Harbor Act, just like murder and rape and all these other different things the law has. It's a law. It's the sign of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. I mean, at Hawkesbury Creek, in this way, we came up with the word Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. But what you've had is excuses being made, and one being made, by each of the two. Let's use an example. Freeport uses the excuse. I mean, the Grand Bahama Port Authority says the city looks like a dump, and if only we could tear down the buildings. Well, reading the bylaws of Freeport, they do have the ability to tear down any and all buildings in Freeport. What they don't have is the ability is to recover their expenses. So their argument that what they're looking for is, yes, we can tear down the buildings, but we want to be able to attach an expense to the demolition that we do. My counter argument to that is, if you go around and randomly tear down these buildings, what is your plans after all the buildings are torn down? So you can't ask me to let you tear down buildings so that you could basically recover expense and maybe even make a profit, and you don't have a plan or strategy as to what's next. And so we have each side throwing jazz essentially out there. But going back to what I said is that the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement is a trust between the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the licensees and quasi-licensees, which is the landowners in Freeport, is the quasi-licensees, the licensees of Freeport, and the citizens of the Bahamas. We are a tripart of this trust. The problem is that we hear it's the government fault from the Port Authority, and we hear the government saying it's the Port Authority fault, and somewhat you have not heard a voice from us, the people who actually controls government, that says, hey, let's fix this. And we have the licensees of Freeport has become just as emasculated as we the citizens have, because they have not demanded the environment for which they need to exist to actually pay licensing fees and to have this growth environment, to have a city where you have a city of scale where growth happens and everything else. And so what we have is we had a lot of clawbacks that happened, or semi-clawbacks from the government and immigration policing and different things. But we've never had a succinct conversation as to, even though these things have occurred, how are they in the master vision to keep with the intent of what Freeport is to be. And so what you have now is a multi-tiered governmental juggernaut that even individuals that needing approval to operate in Freeport has to go through. I've asked a question, and I've gotten from the previous minister of Grand Bahama, Mr. Michael Davu. Hold on a second. Mr. Michael Davu, when he was there, at least the office of the Prime Minister at the time, concerning the possibility or the legality of businesses operating in Freeport. Clarification. When you say you need to get a license in Freeport, is it the individuals that is seeking to partake of the benefits of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement, or is just every single person in Freeport having to have a license? And their Attorney General at the time and the thing says that, well, the argument that I've made has legal merits. If you're not seeking to partake of the benefits of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement concerning the duty-free concessions, then what is the purpose of you having that license in the Grand Bahama Port Authority? Because it doesn't give them complete autonomy that no businesses should exist or do business in Freeport unless it goes through them. And so there's a lot of things that has to go onto the table so that we could devolve this quagmire we're in and clarity, because investors coming to Grand Bahama, first of all, see a city that's dying. They see a structural juggernaut of getting information and find out who's responsible as a cesspool of inefficiencies at best. And so both Freeport, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and the government of the Bahamas has been doing a disservice to both the licensees, who is the beneficiary of this trust, and the Bahamian people who they represent as a whole as the beneficiary of the trust. So that means really, if 80% now, back then, remember now, 90% of the licensees back then may have been foreigners. Today, 80 or 90% of all the licensees in Freeport, including the landholders, are all Bahamians. And so essentially, we
You
only
know,
have to go to the
Scarlett, I'm old enough to remember. It may not have been perfect, the relationship, but I'm old enough to remember when, for all of its imperfections, the relationship worked to the degree where Grand Bahama was the envy in many instances of of the islands. It was the jewel in the crown.
actually the Caribbean, right?
So it did at one point work.
Yes, but only to the degree, uh, only to the degree of only to the degree that I'd put to you that after the Banner Break speech, what we had was a management regime that sustained Grand Bahama where it was at that time. And if you look at Grand Bahama infrastructurally, and from 1973, or whatever it occurred, there has been no major infrastructural improvement to Grand Bahama. So what you see, in spite of the envy of the rest of the Caribbean, tells you the foresight that went in building this thing, that here it is almost 60 years, 50 years later, these infrastructurally is still in envy of most of the Caribbean. But the hotels that we look at selling, there's a hotel, it's a tripod type environment. You have the Pelican Point, and you have the Memories Resort. Those was built in the 60s. I think 65 for each of them, 64 and 65 for each of those. One was built in 1997. But if you look at most of the major infrastructure that the Grand Bahama Port Authority wanted to turn down, most of those was built in the 70s or earlier. And so there's been, except for some industrial type environment and one or two housing and whatever else, there's been no real economic growth in Grand Bahama. At one time, we had over a dozen hotels that carried a hospitality industry, which people speak of when they talk about the magic city. They wasn't talking about industry. They were talking about the magic city of this hospitality, this tourism type environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we had is a maintenance type environment because we were not building anything new. We essentially have reached the end of life of these products in these type of environment. And so as it stands right now, very few of those original hotels exist today. And even Westin, the capital of Grand Bahama, played a very important role. And nobody even talks about Westin as if the Westin don't exist. Westin is the capital of Grand Bahama. And the Jacktaw hotels and others also played a role in Grand Bahama being the magic island, as opposed to just because everything was concentrated in Freeport, became the magic city. But when you look at Grand Bahama now and what has happened in the last 40 years, we have to question why we thought that it would last forever. And so we did no forward-thinking growth. And I would say that now we have to understand the Hayward family goes back to the original signing of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. The Georges entered the pictures after independence in this so-called maintenance type environment. And Everson George and Sir Jack did an excellent job of maintaining an order, or how you say, they were excellent managers of the city. But we moved, because of independence, into parking this growth machinery potential. And I think it was partly, and you asked why isn't Grand Bahama developed now? It is part because it's a threat to the power hierarchy that's been developed in the Bahamas. It's a threat to the political plutocracy that's been developed in the Bahamas. It's a threat to the oligarchs in the Bahamas. And what do you mean by that? Very easily. Fix Grand Bahama today. Forget what it could have been. Let's talk about today. If we were to look at a hospitality and tourism product and these other things that could happen, these economies that Hayward speaks of, the blue and the green and ocean economy, the economies that I speak of, the digital, the knowledge economy, the data economy, artificial intelligence, IoT, you're talking about an immediate need on Grand Bahama within 5 years for very easily 50,000 residents. And people go, whoa, 50,000 additional residents. That's a construction boom. That's a boom of everything. But you have to understand is where would those 50,000 people initially come from? They will come from the other islands, and they will come from New Providence primarily. And that sounds like an exchange. Well, New Providence itself is becoming a shanty town, a dump. Okay, that'd be great if we could move 50,000 people. What you don't understand is that when you move 50 to 60,000 people, you're now moving 4, 5, 6 constituencies out of New Providence onto Grand Bahama. So you're now transferring the economic and political power from New Providence that's controlled by a select group of people into Freeport and Grand Bahama, for which they have no control of the harbors, the airport, and the economics of this island yet. I mean, there's been a move towards it. Believe it or not, you're seeing that with the airport. You're seeing that with this recent airport deal, and you're seeing that attempt with Oban. And so what happens is that it's almost as if though a particular movement is to get control of Grand Bahama before the economic development is allowed. But when you look at the fact that you're now talking about the need for 10,000 bed and breakfast, just imagine 5,000 Bahamian families owning 2, or even 3,000 Bahamian families owning 4 pieces of those into the bed and breakfast market. You're now talking about a family that has a baseline of very easily $200,000, $300,000 a year in income that comes into this family. That changes the, you know what 3,000 in 10 years who become millionaires become a power force against the small group of individuals that has it. They become a voting bloc because now you can't, an empowered people will choose amongst them. So you then begin to lose control of parliament.
Okay, so we're going to have to cut our conversation a bit short today because we do have a sponsored segment that's coming up in the last half hour of the show. But I definitely want to spend some time while I have you talking about the outlook for Grand Bahama. Just recently, our news sat down with the vice president and group head of investment management at RF Bank and Trust, David Slatter, about the outlook for the Bahamian economy for 2023 and the role of Grand Bahama in that outlook. Here's what he had to say.
One of the key ways to improve the economy of Grand Bahama would be to get the tourism sector up and running again. And their number one tourist plant is Arlequaya, and it still remains not sold. And until the airport is repaired and airlift is sufficient to bring people to that resort, it's probably not going to get sold. So solving the issue of the airport will help solve the issue of selling Arlequaya, will also help motivate individuals and companies to invest more in the tourism product in Grand Bahama. So the airport is key for Grand Bahama, but there are positives happening. I mean, little things like, for example, cleaning up parts of the island that where the buildings are knocked down or dilapidated, whether it's from Hurricane Dorian or simply abandonment. Simply cleaning up the space and making it a single clean lot versus buildings that are dilapidated and falling down. That also will inspire individuals to consider investing, right? I'm not going to invest in a property if the first thing I have to do is spend $100,000 to remove rubble. If the rubble is gone and I've got a clean slate and I can use my imagination how I can turn that into a productive asset, that's also an important important factor for the recovery of Grand Bahama.
I know we have a little time. Let me just say this, right? I agree with him on the airport. I'm not bought into the hotel being sold. We've spent $200 million so far on the hotel. If you take $100,000 per new bed and breakfast, that means we've spent the equivalent money we spent on that hotel is 2,000. We could have built 2,000 bed and breakfast for Bahamians to own and manage for the $200 million we spent, and nobody's there. Imagine 2,000 brand new bed and breakfast that we could have built. You have 2 hotels there. The 2 hotels I mentioned, Pelican Point and Memories, has to be torn down. So technically, out of the 1,235 rooms, we maybe have 550 rooms there that can be rehabilitated. Somebody coming in going to have to spend $300 million or more on just trying to rehabilitate that hotel. $300 million would build 3,000 bed and breakfast on Grand Bahama. So the airport and a strategy for the tourism product is absolutely necessary. And the ability with fintech and other things that we talk about, this DARE bill and other things that we're not having a conversation, gives a gateway for behemoths, for those 3,000 rooms to be built. But we don't have those as a conversation and concept. We need not dress up the past. We need to embrace a 21st century moving forward in hospitality and tourism and these green, blue, orange ocean economy, that carbon economy that has presented to us. And Grand Bahama is the ideal place to have it. We already have a principal in the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Rupert Hayward, speaking about it. So I would assume that his ideas would translate into the Grand Bahama Port Authority. We have the government of the Bahamas speaking about it, and you have individuals outside the Grand Bahama Port Authority, like myself and even Mary Reed Johnson, speaking about it. So again, we are singing the same tune, singing the same song, just at different tones. How do we get this choir in harmony as to how we proceed on defining what's now, what's new, and what next for Grand Bahama and the wider Bahamian economy?
Well, Alan, I would dare say that that's the multi-million-dollar question. And based on...
Let me tell you, Michelle, I expect input. When I say government, I consider opposition and government, because they are two parts of the same coin that represents us for Grand Bahama.
Right. Well, listen, stick around just in case my sponsored segment doesn't show up. They're supposed to be on from 3:30, so just in case they don't show up, stick around. If they do, then I got to bump you. But let's take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our number one priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mail boat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company. Just want to say a big thank you to C. Alan Johnson, who was the guest for the first 3 quarters of the show. Thank you, C. Alan. I'm going to let you
so much.
go.
It's my pleasure. I'll listen in. But
All
Grand
right.
Bahama, for Bohemians Just Focus, Grand Bahama is your savior. Just consider
All right.
it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, guys. See you later. All right. So we have in studio with us Mr. Richard McComb. Mr. McComb, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon.
And he is here to tell us about an initiative that's happening in Norman's Key in the Exumas, because guess what, y'all? All of y'all who are looking for work, they are hiring. And they
Great
came
stuff.
here. Big stuff at Guan and Norman's Key, the Exumas. So Mr. McComb is here to tell us about this development and what it is that they're looking for and who they're trying to attract, and why you, particularly if you are qualified for any of these positions that are available, should, make sure that you get your resume in front of these folks, because they're looking for people now. Welcome to the show, Mr. McComb.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So tell us about this development in Norman's Key and why Bahamians ought to be lining up to apply to become a part of your team.
Well, it's a great opportunity for us in the Bahamas as a whole from a tourism perspective. But over the last 3.5, 4 years, we have been doing a development here, which is coming to the point where it's becoming a resort more than a development and a construction site. So what we're doing now is we're staffing up for our resort. Our resort is a 6-star exclusive community with the entire island. It includes the marina, an airport, restaurants, villas, cottages, cabanas, and all of that. And we're at a stage now where we're trying to build the team that's going to carry the resort package forward. In that regard, we're looking for people from all walks of life and all skill sets. Obviously, we have from the hospitality side, we have food and beverage, we have restaurants, we have housekeeping, we have maintenance. Because we own the whole island, we have essentially a city to run. So we have water makers and generators and wastewater systems, sewer systems, IT, and all of those things. So the opportunities are extensive here. Our challenge here is that we are a 6-star plus resort. We are affiliated with the Surf Club Four Seasons in Miami Beach, the Four Seasons Brickell in Miami, Four Seasons in West Palm Beach, and the Four Seasons in Fort Lauderdale. So the standards that we have to maintain and show every day are that level of excellence. So a huge part of what we need to do is to get the right people early on and give them the tools, the training, and the support necessary to let them shine. The challenge that we've had to date is because it's a remote island, people basically need to move here to work here as opposed to being driving from their home. So part of our exercise now, and we're in the midst of it, is to create a community down here that supports people wanting to live here, not just work here. So there's a lot of stuff we are doing internally to try and make it the place for everybody to come to. And we're at the very beginning of that journey. So we're looking for people. Tomorrow we'll be there at the Labor Department in Palmdale, taking applications, talking to as many people as we possibly can to see where we can fit people in. We have a lot of specific jobs to fill now, but as we go forward, we expect to have 100 or 150 people working at the resort. So we're also trying to get leads on people who we think can contribute to our product in the future as well. So the time is right. We're prepared to mentor, to train, and to elevate all of the skill levels that people need to shine in this quality of a resort in the Bahamas or in the rest of the world as we speak.
So let me ask you, because as someone who has worked at a resort on a family island, I have to tell you that life is sweet when you are able to get yourself a good job on one of those exclusive family island resorts. You're talking 6 stars. So we talking really high end here. What will the company do to accommodate persons from other islands who will need to move?
Yes, ma'am.
There? Yeah, what kind of facilities will be provided?
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear that clearly. Could you try again? Sorry, I'm on Wi-Fi,
Sure.
so
What
I
kind of
lost you.
accommodations and facilities will be provided for persons moving from other islands to that island to work at the resort? You still didn't hear me?
Well, I'm very sorry. Just let's try it again. I didn't hear you, but
Okay.
I'm trying to stay under the right coconut tree with the cellular signal.
Yeah, I was asking. I said that as someone who worked at a resort on a family island, I can tell you it's a great experience. And you are talking a 6 star resort, so we know that this is going to be a special place. What facilities are being put in place, or what accommodations are being made for persons who do apply from other islands who end up being hired there? How would you accommodate them to make them comfortable there?
So we're building a community. We're at I would say a challenging stage because the first 3 years of our existence was construction and development, and we're transitioning to the resort staffing. Resort staffing is a different caliber of people with different skill sets.
Right.
So we've just gone. We just came back from Houston, Texas, and found some real good housing for our staff. We're building a community, and that is going to take place over the next 6 to 9 months. Coming in, go forward.
boy.
You know, we have recreation facilities on tap. We have all of those things that we need to make our staff village a community.
Sounds great. Okay, so let's give out some details. I see somebody putting their number in the chat, but listen, folks, what you need to do is you need to show up to the job fair. Don't put your number in the chat. Show up to the job fair, which is being held tomorrow between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the Department of Labor, at the office of the Department of Labor, which is located in Palmdale. And you're going to be asked to present certain credentials. You must be willing to relocate to Norman's Key. Accommodations and meals will be provided. And the following credentials will be required: a minimum of 2 years in the required field, passport, an IB card, passport photo, and police record. I need you guys listening to grab a pen and a paper or whatever you need to record this number, because you will have to schedule your interview. And that number is 302-2550. Again, the number to schedule your interview is 302-2550. I see Mr. McComb it looks like he's having some challenges with his internet connection because his video is frozen. So hopefully We may have lost him there. Hopefully, he'll be able to sign back on as quickly as possible. So, in the meantime, here are some of the positions that they're looking to hire for in the short term. I'll go ahead and list those while we're waiting for Mr. McComb to get back into the stream. So it says a fast-growing company is currently looking for the right candidates to fill the following positions, and those positions are AC technicians, kitchen technicians, pool maintenance, plumbers, electricians, painters, white glove carpenters, engineers, generator and aquatic mechanics. I will repeat those positions because Mr. McComb his feed is dropping in and out. So I'll repeat those positions again. I see he's back on now. I'm just repeating the.
So can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you clearly. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So one thing I would like to say is that there are many more positions available than that, and also the requirement for hiring is a police certificate, the NIB, and all of that. But tomorrow, even if they don't have an appointment, I would love to see them get their name, and we can communicate beyond that if they don't have that in hand, because it's more important for us now to know who's out there, and we can arrange the communication afterwards. And the skill sets we need, those are the imminent ones, but we have multitudes of them beyond that, from restaurant managers to serving staff to maintenance managers that are not on that list. But as we go through this next 3, 4, 5 months, we're going to need those positions as well. So I am actively looking for anybody who wants to be a star and a professional star in a world-class 6-star plus facility. They need to come and see me so we can get their name, we can connect, and work to a great future together.
Now, one of the things that I'd like to advise people listening who are interested, for God's sake, show up looking like you come to apply for a job. Come there to impress the man. Don't come there dragging slippers with curlers in your hair and your shorts on. Dress professionally, come prepared to present yourself as the possible candidate who can be incorporated into a 6-star resort environment. Because we ain't talking, Chuck E. Cheese. We talking high end here. So come ready to impress the folks who will be interviewing or gathering information so that you can be seriously considered to take on one of these positions. So again,
well, I'm having difficulty hearing everything at this stage.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. Yes.
One of the things that we do as a part of our initial assessment is try and get an assessment of people's behaviors to see that they fit the model of a customer-driven employee that's guest-facing and professional. I don't know if you heard that, but that's one of our principal criterias, is to understand the behavioral patterns of the individuals.
Right. Okay. So walk-ins are welcome. Okay. Even if you don't have an appointment, walk-ins are welcome. So you're welcome to just show up like Mr. McComb said, just so they can gather information from you to reach out to you to see if you would be a good fit for this development. Again, we're talking about hiring opportunities for a 6-star resort in Norman's Key and the Exumas, a 6-star resort. And this is taking place tomorrow, May 19th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. The place is the Department of Labor's office in Palmdale, Nassau. And as you would have heard Mr. McComb say, they are looking for not just persons on the list that I mentioned, but many, many other positions as well. They're looking for persons who can become a star in a 6-star environment. What type of personalities are you looking for, regardless of the position that they're applying for, Mr. McComb? If you can hear me.
People need to be outgoing, incredibly friendly, and guest facing. Obviously, you have to look the part as well, but our guests expect every moment of their visit to be represented by professional people. So it doesn't matter what skill set you have, whether it's in landscaping, it's in serving, or it's in maintenance or in housekeeping. Everybody that's here needs to present themselves as professionals in the industry. And expectations are very high on a 6-star resort. So we need to make sure that we give them the tools, we give them the training, but then people's personal behaviors need to fit the bill as well. If they're not outgoing, there's certain positions that they could fill. But, when a customer walks by, you need to look at them, smile, acknowledge them, and be prepared to pick up a suitcase or whatever they need to do, to satisfy that guest. So it really is a profession of hospitality, which in the Bahamas, we were the best in the world at one point. I think we struggle occasionally now, but we've got some incredible resorts that are doing very, very well now and doing a great job of it. And we just want to be a part of that group and, build a team that does exactly that as well.
Okay, so once again, I will give out the number for those of you who do wish to make an appointment to be interviewed. That telephone number is 302-2550, 302-2550. But even if you don't get to make the appointment, walk-ins are welcome. Okay, so don't think that if you couldn't get through to make the appointment, then you should just not show up. No, walk-ins are welcome. So make sure you go there professionally dressed, ready to be interviewed, and to show these people why you should be considered to join such a prestigious team. Again, just some of the positions that are available, not all, but some of the positions that are available. Again, AC technicians, kitchen technicians, pool maintenance, plumbers, generator and aquatic mechanics, electricians, painters, white glove carpenters, engineers, and in short order, they're going to be looking to fill other positions as well, restaurant managers, servers, etc. So make sure that you come prepared to show why you would make a good part of the team. Because like I said, as somebody who has worked in a family island environment at a resort, I can tell you some of my happiest days were spent there. And I suspect you will probably have a good experience working at Norman's Key as well. So again, the job fair is tomorrow, May 19th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Department of Labor office in Palmdale. Okay, that's where you need to be. And again, if you have the following requirements to carry with you, please do. A minimum, you need to have a minimum of 2 years in a required field. You need to have a passport, a current passport, an NIB card, passport photos, and a current police record, a clean police record to be considered. And those are just the general requirements. Clearly, when you're talking about specific positions that are going to be offered, then there will be additional requirements as it relates to those positions. Mr. McComb, how confident are you that you're going to be able to find the right mix of people right from here in the Bahamas to make your team complete? Tell us how important that is to your organization to make sure you get the right mix of people right from here in the Bahamas to make this team complete.
Well, I've worked in the tourism industry in the Bahamas for a lot of years, from Blue Lagoon on, and then at the Nassau Container Port. And I have always found that the Bahamian people have the talent and the skill set. It's about finding the right person, finding the right opportunity, and then presenting the right opportunity. I am confident that most of these positions can be filled locally. People need to be inspired. I mean, we're not talking about a person who just is going to have a job that gets a paycheck. We're looking for people that whose heart is in the job, whose behavior is consistent with the type of job they have, and they have a passion for excellence and a passion to improve their own well-being, their lifestyle, and their profession. Those passionate, committed people can succeed, and we'll give them every opportunity to do so. But the expectation is hard. I mean, we're not talking about just a ground level labor position. We're talking about people that want to make this hospitality side of our industry a profession. So it needs a commitment, it needs a heart, it needs effort. And with those things and, our support, I'm pretty sure we can do a great job filling locally. That's my ambition from the beginning.
Fabulous. Okay, so candidates must be again willing to relocate to Norman's Key, and they're making it very easy for you. They're providing accommodations and
I'm sorry, I've
meals.
lost you, but I still see you, but I've lost you.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. They are making it easy for you by providing accommodations and meals, people. This is a great way for you to work in a fantastic environment, save. If you're looking to save towards future goals, this is a great opportunity for you, because you'll be able to do so because both your accommodations and meals will be provided for you if you are relocating to Norman's Key from another island. So again, Norman's Key and the Exumas is now hiring. Tomorrow is the place to be. The place to be is the Department of Labor office, Palmdale. The time, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I highly recommend that you get there early, because I suspect that there will be a long line of people who will be there to try to grab one of these positions. Make sure you come ready, looking like you're serious, with the right attitude, dressed nicely, and prepared to interview and explain why you should be considered to be a part of the family. How many can you say, can you give us a guesstimate, Mr. McComb, of how many positions you're looking to fill?
We need about another 30 in the short period of time. So it's a lot. Immediately, we need probably 20, 30 within 3 months, and then we go from there. So as the development continues and we get more villas and assets turned over, that number is going to increase. We want people to get in early so that they can, make their mark, give us an opportunity to make them successful, and hopefully make them leaders.
Yes. Okay. So trust me, I can tell you, you're probably going to get more than 100 people show up. I wouldn't be surprised. So if you're only talking those numbers of people, then those of it that there who are looking for work, please put your best foot forward, because it's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of competition for these positions. Whenever there's such a job fair, we see a ton of people show up, and I suspect it will be the same in this case as well. So come prepared to make your case about why you should be the one chosen to take up a position there. So once again, the information that you need to know: tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Department of Labor office in Palmdale. Norman's Key in the Exumas is hiring for a 6-star resort environment. You cannot beat this. They will provide accommodations. They will provide meals. So make sure you show up on time, look in the part, ready to interview. Any final thoughts you want to give us, Mr. McComb, before we let you go?
Well, I thank you very much for your efforts and your show today. Unfortunately, it was sporadic because of my cellular connection, but I do appreciate it, and I look forward. I will be meeting everybody myself there tomorrow, so I look forward to seeing you.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna be pleased with the turnout. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. So again,
Okay,
the
bye-bye.
number to call to make an appointment to schedule the interview is 302-2550. 302-2550, but walk-ins are welcome. We're going to take our final break, and then we're going to wrap up GPS. Stay with us.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels, so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
That is our time for GPS today. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate you. Tomorrow is Friday already? Good Lord, good Lord, good Lord. Anyhow, time is fly when you're having fun. Tomorrow is a TGIF Open Line show. We're going to be talking about the week that was. Got a lot of ground to cover when you or my co-host will talk about whatever you want to talk about. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily